Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. IrisVision is so happy to have you here with us today. In times like these, our team is prouder than ever that IrisVision's remotely connected vision technology is playing such a critical role in helping people see and live independently in their homes. Today's webinar will be a conversation regarding questions to consider before buying a low vision device. Our talented hosts will be guiding the conversation, Kip Thino and Cheryl Free. To give you a little bit background on our host, Cheryl Free is a registered occupational therapist and ophthalmologic technician with 20 years of experience in the field of low vision rehab. She's the Visual Rehabilitation Program Director for Vision Care Ophthalmologic Technologies since 2011, a consultant with Vision Care since 2005, and as a clinic coordinator, technician, vision rehabilitation OT, she has contributed vast efforts to the field through mentorship positions that she has held with various successful organizations throughout the nation. Kip Thino is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at IrisVision and brings more than 20 years of experience in executive sales management and leadership for an array of medical tech companies and emerging technology commercialization. He's passionate about the life-changing technology of IrisVision and the lives that it has touched. Kip and his team work closely with low vision patients, optometrists, and ophthalmologists across the globe to expand IrisVision's impact within the low vision community. Now, before we get started, I do want to give a couple housekeeping tips for our viewers. We will have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, though if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to utilize the chat or Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to type your questions out in this section, and we will answer them at the end of the presentations. Or you could keep your questions for the end of the presentation. Again, type them into the chat box and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Now, without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Kip and Cheryl.
Well, thank you, Mel, and good afternoon or morning, wherever our audience may be today. And thank you for joining the IrisVision Educational Webinar Series for the low vision and the legally blind community. And we hope you are all staying safe in what are truly unprecedented times. And today's program will be dedicated to questions to consider before buying a low vision device. And Cheryl, we could not be more happy or grateful to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you, and thank you for having me. I look forward to it.
Well, we're lucky to have you, Cheryl, and we're going to be discussing in a Q&A from your perspective on considering vision goals, right? And the questions to ask on the purchases that you make. There are a number of low vision devices on the market for varying needs that may have singular features, and it makes it hard to differentiate between what may be best for the consumer. And there's sometimes a hesitation to use a visual assist technology because they must be learned, and this can be intimidating. And we've also found this to be costly over time. Multiple solutions over time as vision changes can exhaust resources, and that won't necessarily help you achieve your goals. In one perspective, you really want to look for an all-in-one integrated solution for near, intermediate, and distant conditions. And Cheryl, I'd love your perspective on that, and I'd love to see the questions that you put together.
Great, I would love to talk about those things. And there's a lot of questions that I always ask my patients when I see them. And so some of the questions I'll go through and we'll just talk about them here is, is the product that you're going to purchase, particularly if it's a technology product, is it FDA registered and clinically validated? And then also, where and how long do you get to try it? You need to be able to utilize it effectively so you can be successful. And do you get to try it so that if it doesn't work for you, you can actually take it back? How will you learn to use it? How are you going to get the training you need to get in order to be able to use the device successfully? And what features will you have access to? Will you be able to use it at near and distance or intermediately? What task will you be able to do with the device that you're actually getting? And what if you're not very good at using technology? How are you going to get good at using the technology, and will it still be able to utilize it for what you want it to do? And there's also, is it going to affect your social interactions? Will you be able to utilize it for when you're trying to see someone's face or see if someone's smiling at you, or be able to tell your grandchildren apart if they all look similar? Can you use it on the go, or is it something that's stationary that sits in your home and you can't take it with you? So it depends on what goals you need to use it for. What if your vision changes? What if your vision changes and then your needs change? Does the device change with your vision needs, or does it become obsolete and you have to get something new? What if the technology improves? And again, if the technology improves and the device can't be improved with the technology, do you need new technology, or will this technology, be able to be improved and updated so that you have the same device and don't have to invest in any more of your income? Is a warranty offered? It's always good to know that if something breaks, that you can get it repaired and that it's covered. And then there's always price to consider. It's like considering all of the things that a device will do for you. Is the price worth it based on what it can offer you and to be able to get your independence back? Thank you.
Well, Cheryl, those are all relevant questions for sure. And by the way, I know some of them came from you, so thank you. And some of them came from IrisVision users and also our current audience. So we're going to go through some answers to those. And as an example of the first one, is the medical device FDA certified and clinically validated? And I'll give you an example of the answer to that from IrisVision's perspective. So for those of you who are familiar, or maybe not be familiar with IrisVision, this is a discovery. It's a Class 1 medical device. The DNA is a combination of academia, research, and technology, and which pioneered the creation of a remote rehabilitation protocol. IrisVision was also developed with a grant from the NIH and with over 3 million sessions to date. So some of our partners are UPMC, Johns Hopkins, Samsung, Stanford University as examples. So you're looking at best-in-class corrective software lenses that is an FDA-certified and clinically validated medical device and a Class 1 device. That's an example of an answer to one of those questions. And Cheryl, question 2 was where and how long will I get to try it? I would love to hear your perspective on your experience from the market out there and what that relevancy is to the patients that you treat every day. IrisVision, just for you folks at home, it's a 30-day in-home risk-free trial, completely remote and touchless accessibility from day one. And there's 3 hour-long personalized training sessions that happen during the trial. So Cheryl, let's talk about that. How important is that to you?
I think being able to try it is very important. And I know early on in my career, we offered a loaner program for some of our low devices, just handheld magnifiers and such, and someone could return them if they didn't work for them. So, and I know that if there was an ability to get any kind of training that's longer than the time you get to spend in the doctor's office or a retail store, or even just the time you get to look at it on the internet, all the training you can get is going to make you much more effective and successful with any device that you take home, and so that you can utilize it to be able to do the activities of daily living that you want to do, and to be a successful and actually do those activities independently. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. And another question we received was, how will I learn to use it? How difficult is it? And one-on-one coaching is key. You want to look for the one that will offer you the best personalized and customized service for you, and set goals to build your trust with your coach and your vision coach. And my understanding, Cheryl, is other companies and products in the industry and for decades really don't necessarily always offer that. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Yes, that is definitely true. There's many times when I've gone to someone's home and found their magnifiers or their glasses were in a drawer because they said that they just didn't work for them. And then when we did some training with them, we found that they were still adequate, but they just never had the training and didn't know how to utilize them appropriately. Often too, with other electronic products, closed circuit TVs, they were not making a magnified. They were either magnifying too much, too little. So there's a lot of times when, all you get is a user manual or a video, or you get a short time demonstration and you're supposed to remember everything that they told you. And by the time you get home, you just don't remember. So I think the more training you can get, the better it's going to be for you to be successful with any device.
Yeah, Cheryl, that one-on-one, intimate interface with a coach, and by the way, a low vision coach. So our low vision experts, the professional education experts that coach our IrisVision users, also have low vision conditions. So there's a lot of empathy there, and I think that's important to relate and associate with the low vision community and be able to build that relationship and that trust. with their specific eye condition. And that's also come to another question, which is, what features can I access? How important is connectivity? And I will tell you that right now, more than ever, I think connectivity is extremely important, to not let COVID-19 and shelter in place become isolation, especially for our most needy and highest risk populations. Connectivity to your physician, as an example, has become extremely difficult, with your family, with your friends, to news, to health and safety information. I think is important now more than ever. And IrisVision has solutions for that. But I'd like your perspective, Cheryl, on how a device can do that, and how important is that to have that interface with Alexa, YouTube, Google, have OCR, a photo gallery, telehealth. What would that mean to your patients?
I think one of the things that always is the biggest thing about the biggest problem that most of my patients would complain about is the fact that they feel isolated. They can't see people's faces. They can't access the internet as well as they used to. They just are isolated. Suddenly your world is now, caved into what you can see within, maybe arm's reach. And so I think being able, when I've had patients who are able to connect to either socially, being able to see a person's face, or being able to get back on the internet to be able to see someone's face on any device, it's often made a really big difference in their lives in terms of them being less lonely.
Thank you, Cheryl. I don't think I've ever told you this story, but my grandmother, as an example, was legally blind the last 5 years of her life, and my mom was just diagnosed with AMD 2 months ago. So certainly anxiety there, and we'll have to watch that carefully. But that's one of the things I worried about at the very beginning, was her isolation and her connectivity, not only to me, but to her physician and to her friends and to her work. And that's also extremely important. And I'm thinking about is another question, is what if I'm not good at using technology? And Cheryl, don't laugh, but this question actually came from me, because it's true. How do you find a device that accommodates to you and doesn't do the opposite? Technology can be intimidating. How do I learn it? What IrisVision is integrated is buttonology that's extremely user-friendly, tactile button system, voice controls and voice commands wherever you are, inside or outside of the house, and remote support available to you at any time, including tutorial videos and training right there as you use it. And I'd love to hear your discussion points on this question.
So one of the things that I think these are all really good features, and I can reference this to my mother, who has diabetic retinopathy, and she also has sensation tactile problems with her fingers, so she can't always feel buttons and things. And so we have found that voice controls are very, very important to her to be able to access something, because otherwise, specifically, I can give you an example, is with her TV remote, is that she now has a voice activated one, because when she has to push buttons, she's always pushing the wrong ones. One, she can't see them, and two, she can't feel them. So that always makes it much more difficult. And so being able to, and also being able to train someone on how to utilize those with all of those features, so you can pick which features work for you and which ones don't, because not everyone's going to need voice activation. Some people can do the buttons. I think this offers a lot of opportunities. The more you can offer, the more successful a person can possibly be with any device.
Exactly. And I love that example of the phone voice activation, because that's fairly mainstream today, and understanding that a visual assist device like IrisVision enables that for their different settings and where they might be throughout the day, and their interactions on being able to change those views is extremely important. And I think that also helps with social interactions, right? That was another question. Will a device help with my social interactions, and how well would it help with social interactions? So when you think about tools to help users connect with loved ones, caregivers, the world at large using technology, this slide is really an indicator of just a few of the types of advances that you might be able to have. And one is to connect with us for training and support, completely remote, including upgrades. So you don't have to leave the safety of your house. You don't have to have anyone come over and figure it out with you. We connect directly to the unit, and we can provide free upgrades to you at any time, anywhere around the world. Connecting back with loved ones with the camera, the photo gallery, capturing and reliving moments with loved ones again and again, that's significant. And connecting with providers. 7 weeks ago, we could go see our doctor really anytime, and right now, it's extremely limited. In fact, in eye care, about 70% of the physicians are having difficulty finding a way to connect with their patients as they've got closed doors. And this is significant. So remote patient monitoring, diagnostics, and therapeutics remotely through the same device that you wear could be life-altering going forward. And then connecting with media, the things that some of us potentially take for granted every single day, Cheryl: YouTube, Amazon, Alexa, movies, news, again, health and safety information. So I know you've worked with a lot of patients throughout your career, and I'd love to hear your perspective on connectivity and the importance of it.
Well, again, I think social interaction and connectivity with the outside world really helps with keeping people from feeling so isolated and so alone, which happens when you have a visual impairment. And so a lot of the things that all of my patients, almost every single patient I have, complains about not being able to see people's faces. And once we could get them connected to seeing people's faces, they would light up. It just seemed to make a huge difference to them, just sitting across even from their spouse, be able to see their spouse and have a conversation and know what facial expressions that their spouse is having. So I think that's really key. Also, when I was involved in a trial, if I could have connected with my patients remotely, that would have been amazing, because almost all of my patients, except for one, lived over 2 hours away. So that would have been a fabulous idea. And then being able to stay on top of the news and connect with everything else, if that's something you really want to do. I think being able to do that with all one devices would just make life so much easier for a lot of people. So I think the social connectivity is really important for anyone who's lost vision, because your world just kind of closes in, and anything we can do to open that up for you, I think helps with people feeling more successful in life in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next question we got was I think tied to that connectivity equation, right? Which is, can I use it on the go? And, elaborating on just a few views that actually go back to our training. So if you remember, a low vision specialist will work with the IrisVision customer every step of the way through the 30-day trial to really figure out the modes and the views that will work specifically for them and their condition and increase the quality of life. And here's just a few: the scene view, bubble view, bioptic lens, colored reading, line reading. This is getting back to family events, sporting events, work, school, homeschool, connecting with your physician for all of those conditions from near, intermediate, and distant. And Sarah, what's been your experience and your perspective with there's other solutions over time in the market when it comes to using it on the go?
Well, usually we found that most of them only have one focal distance. So you have something for near, you have something for intermediate, or sometimes you can do both with that. But usually there was nothing available for near, intermediate, and distance. So one of the biggest things that I always found with people, their biggest complaint was, I'm in the supermarket, I need to be able to read my cans to make sure that I'm picking up what I want. So you have one device for that. But then they also say, but then they've changed the supermarket around, and now I don't know which aisle has my cereal in it. So they need to be able to read the signs for the aisle, which is a distance activity. So that requires another device that has to be then changed somewhere within their shopping experience. And then maybe even just, walking around. But anyway, so those are the things that when you have an activity that requires more than one distance, that's where one device would be really helpful, because you just don't have to keep switching back and forth. You just have your one device, and that will take care of all of the activities you need to do with that one chore.
Right. And again, a good segue and dovetail into eye conditions themselves, because you look at near, intermediate, and distant, right? for those conditions, they can change. And this is a question we get a lot, and we had to put it in here. What if my vision needs change? What if my vision changes? So as an example, the IrisVision, the acuity, functional acuity utilization has been between 20 over 100 all the way up to 20 over 800 plus in over 60 conditions. And we put on the screen here for the viewers just a few of those conditions. How have you addressed this question with your patients?
Well, usually it was always with most things, like with anything with a singular lens, say like a pair of glasses or a handheld magnifier, when your vision changes, you have to then get a new device, a stronger pair of glasses, a stronger magnifier, because you want to be able to utilize your vision to be able to do the activities you want at any point of time within your vision span. So if your vision doesn't change, then you're great. But usually what happens is vision changes over time. And so then you have to get new devices. And that offers, then that requires an outlay of extra cash or extra monies on your part to buy a new device. But when you have a device that will actually will change magnification, then the device is able to change with you if your vision changes. And so then you don't have to purchase another device. So one of the things that was very early on was the stationary closed circuit TV that sat on your desk. The magnifier of that device is very great. So you could go from all kinds of vision ranges and still be able to utilize that device to be able to read with without having to purchase a new device. But it wasn't portable, so you couldn't take it with you anywhere. So therefore, if you wanted something for distance, you had to get a different kind of telescope and that kind of thing. So anything that allows magnification change is really, really good and allows a person to not have to learn a new device, not have to learn a new focal distance, and the patient can stay successful with it through their entire vision career, whatever that might be.
Right, and no, that was a really in-depth example, and it leads into, vision changes, but so does technology. And one of our questions that came through was, what if the technology changes? What if there are upgrades? What if technology in general improves? Am I going to be stuck with what I bought? So I think it's more of a concern than a question, Cheryl. And many devices are antiquated, don't have the upgrades, they become obsolete. I'm sure you've seen that throughout your practice, and software updates are impossible remotely. With IrisVision, that's not the case, but the point is technology does change as well, and that's a significant question, with the answer being, will I be able to take my device with me through the life of the technology and the improvements and the upgrades? What's been your experience with that, Cheryl?
Oh, there's not been a lot of ability to be able to do that in devices in the past when I was actually going out to people's homes. I mean, you were kind of, what you got was what you got. And most people, rather than reinvesting in a new device that would give them what they wanted, they would just continue to try to utilize what it is they have instead of trying to get the new device, particularly if the device was very expensive. So no, I think something that can be upgraded that would actually go along through, again, the person's vision career, so their vision path. If you can get a device that will actually change with the technology and allow them to continue with that, then they don't have to relearn a new device and they can continue to keep using that one. And I think it would make it much more successful.
Yeah, and actually the same question came from the same person, that what about the cost? Because obviously it goes hand in hand. If you have to continuously get different devices, continually have to evolve in different technologies and try different things out there over time, there's an economic and fiscal impact. And one of it was, what's the cost over time? If you look at that fiscal impact over time with multiple options or needs versus one advanced solution, it does become quite burdensome. So what does this mean? You've got near tools, intermediate tools, distance tools. All of these were in your arsenal, Cheryl, and they add up over time, especially when things change and integration might become obsolete, versus one remote solution that IrisVision has to offer. Do you have any tips for our audience on this portion when it comes to the economics?
Well, again, it all depends on, if your vision is going to change or if it's not going to change. And you do invest a lot. Low vision devices are not inexpensive. And again, anytime your vision changes, you would have to get a new pair of glasses. I mean, we all know anybody who's wearing glasses, you have to go and get new pairs of glasses every couple of years, and you just are aware of that expense. But when you add low vision devices to that, or special reading glasses that are, extra strong, that adds an additional cost anytime you have a vision change. And so I've had patients who are just terrified of their vision changing because of the cost. And oftentimes they wouldn't invest in something else and they would just stop doing some activities rather than get a new device, which is sad.
Right. No, it is. And so I think that's definitely a critical question to ask and to research, and to actually ask the company that you're talking to, what are the applications? What do I get with this? How long do I get it? And that's extremely important. And last couple of pieces here really revolve around data and validation. Cheryl, looking at significant impact on daily living goals, because that is the goal here, right? Is to improve those. And in medical device and even pharmaceuticals, we call that QOL. It's quality of life. It's how you measure data in medicine. It's not just the efficacy of the device. It's what is the impact mentally, physically, emotionally on the person. So in addition to published studies, data from our patients and devices provides invaluable insights. And we've also conducted multiple studies on our own with more than 600 devices currently out there being used. And here's just a little bit of what we've learned. In this graph, you can see the bars going from 0 to all the way up to 70–80% of daily living achievements: watching TV, shopping, going to the theater, going outside, working outside, functioning hobbies, resuming hobbies. All of that is really important. And when you were establishing goals with your patients, when you do that, Cheryl, how much do you key in on this?
Everything we do is based on activities of daily living and the goals that they do. And there are some that you can do with devices and some you do with modifications of the environment where they're not really using vision. They might be using feel or something like that. But it's usually, you're always trying to get an improvement in their being able to do activities that they want to be able to do.
And that's the significant impact of what you can get in one device. And from when we look at universal accessibility, right? So that's a great insight, because then that leads into, and just speaking about IrisVision here in particular, this graph again shows the percent of QOL, quality of life, in cognitive function. That's increased concentration, mental health, looking at energy levels. And this is utilizing the device. Near and intermediate, near and distant, looking at entertainment, able to do your favorite things, including indoor and outdoor activities. Would you typically see all of these increases in the past, Cheryl, with different devices?
With different devices, never with just one device. Yeah, no, I would, with different devices, you'd have to do training on all the different devices. You could see that, but it would take multiple devices. I don't think I'd ever see anything like that with just one device.
Right, and look, that's the goal. That's the goal here, is to help answer some of these questions and talk about the questions that are asked every day. They're important. There should be research done, and until you find the solution that's right for you. And one of the last talking points here, Cheryl, from a data perspective and looking at proven successes is, in medical device, there's an old saying: "Show me the data." As you know, Cheryl, physicians will rarely, if ever, make decisions without the data. And what this shows in pie charts is just a couple of things, and I'll go through this pretty quickly. When you look at IrisVision's utilization in age groups, 8 years old to 106 years old. When you look at eye conditions broken down by percentages, most eye conditions, low vision and legal blindness. Wide range of visual acuity from 20 over 40 to 20 over 1,000. So looking at working as a solution for moderate and severe cases. And really one of the pinnacle data points here is 260% increase in usage over the first 2 weeks. So what does that mean? It means once you become a master of the device and you've used it and you've established your goals, you're actually stretching yourself and stretching these goals and working with our team to establish new goals and utilizing more and more and more of the material and the advances in the technology to be able to increase your quality of life and your independence. In these situations, Cheryl, what's been your experience?
Well, if I've got someone who actually starts doing more and they get more successful with the device or with whatever it is we've given them, and they are successful, then they often engage in more activities and things that they've forgotten that they've given up over time. So we've had patients who've gone back to painting, gone back to knitting, gone back to crocheting. We actually had one patient who was so excited that she was able to paint again that she made a painting for our office. And we put it in there. And then, of course, the doctor was thrilled because our doctors want patients to be successful as well. So I think anything we can do that brings about, an increase in someone's ability to perform activities at home, it often increases their confidence and increases their ability to do activities that they may have forgotten that they gave up over time.
Thanks, Cheryl. No, that's fantastic, and really appreciate the credible experiences that you've had and your insights here. And just for me to close out my part here of this program, IrisVision is designed to be shipped really anywhere in the world and have people seeing again within minutes. That's significant. But if we've answered any of your questions here today, or if we haven't, please get in touch with us and give it a try. If it's the solution for you, we'll work with you every step of the way on the remote connectivity. The features, the training, and support are available to almost any user anywhere in the world. The one-on-one training sessions, take advantage of those with our low vision trainers to ensure that you master the device. They'll work at a pace that works for you and for your condition specifically. And the voice controls, allow the user's natural language commands, navigate the device, and then get help any way that they need it from the device itself. Increased functionality. And this is significant. When we talk about the evolution of technology and of devices out there, that's probably another question to answer. How are you evolving, and how are you continuing to move in a marketplace right now that has significantly changed, especially with COVID-19? And one of our solutions is adapting to this significant unprecedented time with telehealth and telerehabilitation, connecting back with your physicians and with folks like you, Cheryl, that really make the difference in all of these patients' lives. And I can't thank you enough. And Cheryl, I really appreciate your time today on this program. Couldn't have done it without you. And I'd love any last words that you have, Cheryl.
Oh, any last words? Well, thank you both, Kip and Mel, for allowing me to participate in this. And I'm willing to stick around for any questions that anyone has to entertain. Thank you.
So great. Thank you, Cheryl, again. Really appreciated having you on. And Mel, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Kip and Cheryl. That was a lot of insightful information. And I do hope that our viewers today take advantage of a lot of the things that you told them, a lot of the questions that you've already answered. It definitely is a big investment, and considering how many options exist in the marketplace today, it's really important for those who do have low visions or are within the community in some way to have access to these resources and truly understand if one device works for them, if it fits all of their needs. So it's great. It's great that you guys went over all of this. So just to close up, I do want to let our viewers know about a certain offer that IrisVision is providing through the end of April and through May 15th. We're offering the Compare and Save program. We're truly convinced that, IrisVision could be beneficial to you. So if you would like to try it and send us a review, we're offering $300 for a written review, $500 for a video review, and $300 off if your trial was initiated by this webinar. So if you're interested in taking advantage of any of these opportunities, please get in touch with us. I will display our phone number and email at the end of the presentation, and you can also email your reviews to telus@irisvision.com, which is displayed on the screen. Other than that, Kip and Cheryl really did go over everything very in depth, but just to do a final full circle, IrisVision can help in numerous ways, and as a company, we're incredibly proud to be offering these resources, especially now. It's important to stay connected and to live independently. We have a validated success system where IrisVision has shown success for all age ranges, all conditions. It's definitely worth a shot to see if it is something that can work with your lifestyle. Again, that one-on-one training system is something that we personally love and our clients love as well. We personalize each session to meet your goals. You develop a relationship with your coach where each session is really focused on getting to where you want to be with your visual goals. We're completely remote. We can get the device to you within just a couple days of ordering. All of our sessions are completely remote as well. You can do this completely from the comfort of your own home. Software updates are always available. We always want to make sure that our clients have the highest tech abilities. So whether that's offering enhancements to the visual modes, offering enhancements to our video playing features, all of the above, we'll be able to do that also remotely. Lastly, that 30-day risk-free trial is definitely something to take advantage of. You can try IrisVision from the comfort of your own home, see if it works with your lifestyle. If not, send it back completely risk-free. So at this portion, I'd like to open up the Q&A section of our presentation. If you do have a question, please do navigate yourselves to the Q&A or chat box at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to type out any questions that you would want for Kip and Cheryl to answer, and we'd be happy to answer your questions from there. So let's see what questions we have right now.